So, this is the video that I wanted to have, and it's all started from Legends of Korra, of course. I mean, a little bit of backstory about me. I'm an Australian, obviously from my accent. Um, I was once deeply in love when I was young. Like, yeah, do you really know if it's love when you're that young? I think it was, because this is as a woman that she was an Aboriginal girl, and they're the dark-skinned people of Australia. And she come from a sort of a troubled background with a lot of family members and a lot of crime and shit like that. And I'm your typical white boy with fucking red hair that grew up in with a mother and a father and a brother, and went to a Catholic school and all that sort of bullshit. But I was still a bit of a cunt, very mischief child, and I ended up hanging out with her because her friends ended up leaving her, and I was like, fuck, rodeo. And I enjoyed her company. I really did. She was down to earth, and I'm a very upfront, down to earth, tell it how I see it sort of person. So like, if I think you're a cunt, I'm going to tell you that you're a cunt, straight to your face. You don't like it, you can fuck right off, or you can start swinging punches. It's up to you. And she was that way too. Like, nothing is better in this world than an independent woman that knows her shit. So I fell in love with her, and we went out for 3 years, and every day, man, it was like, I had no notions of cheating or even having any other woman in my life. I just didn't give a fuck. I loved her. Unfortunately for her, she went down a path with her friends up the school. I think I was 19, she was 17. Now, before you go calling me a pedophile, okay, I was 17, she was 15. It doesn't sound any better. I didn't know her age group before we started hanging out. But 2 years in high school isn't really a big thing. Unless, of course, they're year 8, or they're like 12 and you're 4. That shit's sick. Katara and Aang. And she had left school at like year 11, and she got on the drugs. And I wasn't too happy about that, because I don't mind marijuana, bit of cocaine, some mushrooms, unless you go to sleep on mushrooms and you wake up and you're floating in the middle of the fucking sky because you think you're in space and you freak out. I'm not going to get into that sort of conversation right now, but I loved her. And she got on the drugs, and I had an argument with her, a really bad argument, and she ended up taking my car and going over a roundabout and rolling it and killing herself. And that put me in a sort of like a really dark spot. I ate a lot and I got very fat. And then for like 3 years I just stayed in that don't care about life, if I can get fat, get ugly, blah blah. And I stayed there until I just eventually it clicked in my head, like, get the fuck up and do something with your life. And so I started going to the gym, and I lost a lot of weight, and I started going to Tinder and whoring myself out, because I just couldn't find a woman. They kept reminding me of this person, and I just went from one woman to the next, to the next, to the next. They got close, I got the fuck out of there. It wasn't a happy life. Now, this isn't completely about that, alright? This is about Korra unleashing that sort of side effect on me, which made me feel like I lost a lot of my life all over again when I saw their story end, or their story together start, before it ended. Now, as you can see the picture right here, this is the story. Now, it wasn't really finished, because I doubt this artwork right here. I think it was done well and truly done before the Spirit Portal, because if it was, you'd definitely see that there. It'd be very... I'd love this artist to come back and finish this artwork, to have their Spirit Portal kiss. Anyway, so watching the end of that, watching them hold hands, look all dreamy-eyed at each other, that's when it clicked to me that they were together. And then I rewatched it again to see all the signs, and it was fucking perfect. I mean, Asami was the only ever person to treat Korra as a human being. I mean, the first picture kind of does it wrong, because Asami, when she first met Korra, was all smiles and cheers. In this one, she looks like she's staying away from her because she's competition, but she's not. But Asami was the only ever person to make Korra feel like a human being. And Korra feels safe around Asami. Now, how powerful is that? The most powerful bender of your time, and possibly avatar of the last millennia, feels safe inside of the company or the arms of a non-bending girl. Can you comprehend that? That'd be like, they're pretty much a deity. They're a god. They can control all the 4 elements and master them all, yet she feels safe in the arms of Asami, or in the company of Asami, or both. Because Korra can drop a guard. You see when she talks to Asami, she drops her shoulders, which is a good sign that you're relaxed. Now, I for one, I loved it. I hated it that it ended like that because it reminded me of my own sad story. How the love of my life died, and it put me into a really dark spot. Like I was running in a black room with no walls and no roof. I was in oblivion. And when I first watched this, man, I was crying. Like I was. And I'm not going to be ashamed to admit that because nothing really ever shakes me. It's kind of embarrassing that a cartoon did that to me, but this did because it was so powerful and beautiful how these two fell in love, which I've covered in other videos, but it was just so powerful, and it was a love born out of suffering, you know, because like I've said before, you don't know what you have until you've lost it, or you don't know what you have until you're about to lose it, and it works for both these characters. Sami realised what she had before she was about to lose it, and Cora realised what she had when she did lose it. Now I don't want to get into a 15-minute rant about that. This entire video, which I haven't even gotten to the fucking thing yet, is about what would my life be like if I had LGBT media as a kid. Now my parents, they were born in the 50s. In that day and age, if you were gay, you were unnatural, you were weird, you were mentally ill, you were, even in some places, evil. And I got taught by people like that, you know? I got taught that they're fucking weird, you know, they're unnatural. And so growing up and being taught that way, I treated them like that. I was pretty much a bigot, you know? It took me until like 24, 25 years to realise why the fuck do I hate these people? Why hate something that's formed out of love, you know? I'm not gay. It's not going to affect me. Why the fuck do I hate these people? I'm not going to love it. I don't give two fucks about it. But why hate it? And I'm thinking, this Legends of Korra that has done this, and then plenty others that have done this since Korra, are going to make maybe the next generation a bit more kinder towards people that are gay. Because we treat them like outcasts. They're treated like people with disabilities. They're treated like they're not worthy of company, or they're just outcast. And I can imagine kids seeing this as growing up and seeing these two male characters and female characters fall in love with each other. That's just normal. They love each other, and then they see it in high school, or even, you know, this boy's got a crush on another boy, cause, you know, and they're not going to make fun of him for it because they've seen it. You know, it's on TV. Now, I went and asked people. I asked, I did disability support work. I asked my client's father because my client's a bit, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he is. And I asked him, I was like, hey, how do you deal with, you know, gay stuff? He goes, this is not fucking right, mate. It's just not natural. I was like, I can't agree with you there, man. You know, some people are born that way. They're born and they're like the same sex. Some people are taught it. And he's like, it's just not natural. Because he was born that day and age where it wasn't natural. You know, it's just very fucking odd. And I asked next to my neighbour. Now, he's a true blue Aussie, even though he's half English, the prick. And he's pretty much do it all yourself. Like, he's just a down-to-earth fucking bloke, even worse than me. Like, you know, if I'm walking outside, he'll call me cum guts. And I'm like, fuck off, dickhead. And I asked him, I was like, how would you feel about your two young girls seeing LGBT characters on a kid's cartoon? And he goes, it has to be done right. And I'm like, explain. He goes, 1, don't involve religion. And I was like, man, that's fair enough, man, fuck religion. And 2nd, don't make it where everyone has to be gay. And I understand that, man. I understand that, because there is, I'm going to be honest here, there's a small pocket of the LGBT communities that see a gay character and like, fuck it, let's make everyone else gay. Like Prince Wu and Mako. Like, these guys both like women, they both stated it, and they're both, you know, Mako's got, he kind of gives him a bit of a, you know, like a smile at the end, because he realised he's did some good, he had some character growth. You know, he's not a total tosspot. But, you know, you got there's certain groups that just want to make everyone gay. And I understand where he's coming from. You know, where he goes like, we're just not trying to promote everyone has to be gay. And I go, that's more than fair, man. But what about, you know, where it's not odd to be gay, where it's just normal? And he goes, that's fine. You know, he's turning 30 this year. He's got 2 young girls in primary school, which is like not middle school or high school for America. Elementary, I guess you could say. And he's more than fine with it, as long as it's done right. As long as religion doesn't interfere, because religion's fucked. And where it's not a certain thing where everyone has to be gay. He doesn't give a shit if it's normal as hell, and there's a lot of gay people, you know, but as long as not everyone has to be gay. And I understand that, man. I'm a down-to-earth person. I support the LGBT, or I would say LGB, because I don't understand the tranny thing. I really don't. I fucking don't. Being gay is natural. Sometimes you're born gay. You know, it doesn't really matter, but I don't get the whole cutting your cock off, or your tits, and then turning yourself into a man or a woman, because that isn't natural. And it's literally not natural. If you sound like a girl, and you want me to call you Samantha, and your name was Sam, and you had a big gnarly voice of a bloke, I'll treat you like a woman. If you sound like a woman and you look like a woman. But if you've got a chin that could sink the fucking Titanic, and you've got facial hair, and you've got a fucking wig on and fake tits, I'm gonna treat you like a bloke, and I'm gonna treat you a bit like a weird bloke. He's dressing up in girls' clothing. And I guess that's sort of the past stigma that hangs around for my folks. I'm not gonna trust you because, quite simply, you look fucking funny. You got a wig on. You got lipstick on. You got fake tits, and I'm just gonna be like, nah, mate. Look, I'm gonna leave you be you, and I'll be me. But I could imagine growing up with stuff like this on cartoons. I would have grown up not being such an arsehole. Not growing up and treating people that were gay in high school like they were less than human. Because I did that. And it was wrong. It was rude. Because they're human beings that just loved other human beings, regardless of whatever they had attached to them. And this could have done me a lot of good. And hopefully it will do the civilized world, those that allow this stuff on the TVs, a lot of good too. Because we need more of it. We got to stop treating people like they fucking don't deserve to live because they like the same sex. Love is love, man. You know, Australia finally, I think back 3 years ago, finally come along and voted yes. My entire family voted no because my brother's like, well, it has to be between a man and a woman. That's what marriage is. It's like, nah, man, listen to them. If they want to fucking suffer with the rest of us, they can do that. Because they're fucking a guy, and they want to break up with him. They can get out of there and go. But if that silly cunt wants to marry that guy, he's now got to fucking forward half his estate and everything he owns to that guy. So he can fucking suffer with the rest of us. All jokes aside, it's their business. It's their heart, man. The first human right of the Geneva Convention is to feel safe. And feeling safe can be in the arms of someone you love. So I'd say it's against you are, fuck, I can't even English right now. You are taking away someone's human right to be safe. And that's the very first human right, to feel safe and protected. And I disagree with that. Love who the fuck you want, man. Like, if you want to dress like a girl, or like a feminine guy, all the power to you. If you want to be a big, gnarly, strong dude that's gay, you know, as still a bloke, good on you. Be you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to give two fucks, because what you do behind closed doors is your own business. As is, you know, I don't want to go to McDonald's and eat my burger and see two straight people finger bash each other. You know, getting the Cheeto fingers under the fucking desk and giving her a Happy Meal. You know, same thing. I don't want to see two guys or two girls fucking making out with each other, you know, in the shopping centre, because, I mean, that shit's sexual stuff. Leave that in a sexual private area. You know, I've seen two dudes hold hands while I'm driving. I don't give a fuck. I've seen two girls do it and I don't give a fuck. You know, there's ways to show your compassion and love towards each other. This entire video has gone rambling enough, but I'm just saying, how good would it have been to see this sort of stuff on TV as a kid for me growing up? And hopefully you'll do it for a lot more kids, because it'll just be a lot more beautiful. These people will grow up a lot more kind-hearted, not seeing people that aren't worthy of life, but people that just love people. And I hope this generation doesn't go full cancel culture, but goes to be more compassionate to people that love the same people. Anyway, I've rambled way too fucking much here. If you're still around, thanks for watching. Keep yourself safe, and don't do anything I wouldn't do, and that's pretty much fucking everything.